If you've seen any of the past videos that I've put out there, you definitely know I'm the Toro guy, and I love talking Toro, and I love Toro as a product. But today, I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna do something a little bit different because things have changed within our dealership. So without further ado, that's right, title of the video told you, but we are now a Bad Boy dealer. And that's not at the extent of us not wanting to be a Toro dealer, but you know, if you followed this channel, I've talked some different things, you know, from a business perspective and kind of where we've come. We've been an established dealership for a couple of years, but part of the idea was add another line and give a little bit more of a shopping experience to that customer. And I've also talked about in past videos that I don't absolutely swear by Toro, and I'm not gonna absolutely swear by Bad Boy. The reality behind mowers is that a lot of these different mower brands use a lot of the same types of transmissions, the same types of engines. There's definitely gonna be a feeling when you get on a mower that you may like one versus the other, depending on your body style or just experiences you've had in the past, right? So that's gonna go into that decision. But yeah, these things have a lot of similar components, but of course from brand to brand, you're gonna have some specific things that are a little bit better in some brands versus others, and that is no different with Bad Boy. There's definitely some things that drew me to wanting to grab this as a secondary brand. So number one, what was that number one reason that sort of drew me to this brand, Bad Boy? If you're watching this, maybe you are one of the people I'm talking about, but I think it's got a tremendous following. I think they market their product really well, and I think there are people that are on that Bad Boy train. They love Bad Boys. They've had good experience. There's certain things about what they're doing that draw in a certain type of customer. This company was established a little after 2000, and it has grown and grabbed tremendous market share. And so that is probably reason number one. And then of course, as you start to get into the mower and actually look at some of the baseline features, there's other reasons there too, specific things that I really do like about what Bad Boy is doing behind their mower. So let's walk back to this other mower so I can kind of talk about that in a little greater detail. And you notice when I'm walking back, of course, Bad Boy tractors. Big reason we picked up Bad Boy too is, okay, you've got this diversity of also being able to sell tractors, but I'm walking back here to talk about this mower. And the unique things that Bad Boy does, there's a few that I can highlight within this mower right here. So with Bad Boy, once you get to a ZT Elite level or above, which again, I kind of speak to you guys as prior being a Toro dealer, that's kind of like Toro's equivalent to the Toro Titan. So this is like this high-end prosumer. Once you get to that level or above, which this is really the best of the best that Bad Boy has in the gas version, some of the stuff they do, I'll highlight on the front end. They use these rubber kind of pucks, these isolation mounts, and it adds tremendous comfort to the mowers. If you go back on this and if you move up to a Maverick and then eventually the Maverick HD, they're not only gonna put them on the front, they're also gonna put them on the rear of the machine. If I flip this seat up, more rubber isolation mounts. Toro will put these rubber isolation mounts and they put it on their 5,000 and 6,000 series mowers right under the seat. And what that does and why that matters is you've got machines that have suspension seats or you have this comfort up and down. Well, these rubber isolation mounts, they're gonna give you a little more of this side to side movement here. And I don't know if you can just see, but just this little bit how I can move that. When you're coming over bumps and things of that nature, it's gonna add just a lot of comfort from left to right, forward to backwards, instead of just an up and down type of comfort. And what's really unique about, you know, going into their upper echelon series, like this Rogue, is not only are they adding things like that, but if I look under the rear end of this machine, they have trailing arms just like an ATV. So it actually surprised me as these things have landed that I've gotten to look at everything a little bit closer, what they're doing suspension wise. Okay, so number one, I'm impressed with that suspension as I see them. Number two, a trait to Bad Boy, and again as I flip this seat up, working on these mowers, everything's wide open. This is very easy to get to everything that I want. I can see the transmissions. There's a lot of big open space for me to get in and work on this machine, you know, flipping up the deck and grabbing access to pulleys and things there. There's a lot of access, you know, and with some of the mowers, sometimes when you get these really big engines in here, you might have to turn them sideways and really tuck them in, and you can't quite reach one side of the engine. Well, there's a lot of room on these bad boys. Work on the engine. You can take off these side plates to be able to work on it. You don't even have to access some of these components. So a Bad Boy mower is a lot easier to work on than most mowers. Another thing that has really surprised me, you know, as we've learned more and more about these mowers, is if you compare the prices of Bad Boy, and I compare them to Toro, and I think of other brands where, you know, you're looking at things from a price point perspective. When you look at things spec for spec, really those prices are pretty close, okay? But what's unique to Bad Boy as well is they sell directly to the dealer. Okay, so typically in a lot of other cases, like the case it is with me being a Toro dealer, there are distributors that are buying the mower from Toro, and those distributors then sell to the dealer. There's got to be enough money for those distributors to do all that bootleg work and get that product to the end dealer, okay, and then eventually the consumer, you guys. Now with Bad Boy, they sell direct to the dealer, and why that is relevant here is because it cuts out a middleman. It cuts out somebody who needs to make some money as a part of the transaction, and there are significantly better pricing on these mowers when you compare them to a Toro, a Ferris, a Gravely, a lot of these other brands where there is someone in between making a little bit of that margin. It's actually, it's wildly surprising to me on some of these prices. So I look at mowers and I look for trying to compare spec for spec, okay? So for example, just some of their entry-level commercial type mowers, for Bad Boy, it's a Maverick HDs where they say, hey, this is officially a commercial mower. Well, you can get into that mower with ZT 3400 transmissions that are serviceable, and you're gonna be under $10,000. Now, if you compare that with others, you may be kind of close price-wise. If you compare it to some Toros, you might be more in like a $10,000, $11,000 price point. If you get to this level right here, right, if you talk about a Rogue, this to me is more comparable to a Toro 5,000 and 6,000. It's just kind of, well, you know, Toro, absolutely a premium product, right? But when you talk about some of the prices, they can literally get into 15, 16, 17, up to $20,000 for their elite level mowers with Parker transmissions. And that's part of what kind of sets that price up there. And typically you're gonna see some carbureted options, some 26 horsepower engines. You can get options for 37 horsepower Vanguard fuel injected engines, okay? But one thing that has surprised me with Bad Boy is a wide array of engine options, the engine options that you guys want at really affordable prices. So this is the top dog. If you get into this cash price, you're gonna be more in the $12,000 to $13,000 price point. I mean, we're talking significant savings to get those same base level components. So like, just to use this mower as an example here, this engine, it's a 38.5 fuel injected Kawasaki engine at the price point that I just said. And then when I flip this up again, a little bit different setup than some of those mowers. This one has a Parker wheel motor that is separate from the hydro gear pump that's here. And another nice thing as you look at this and how robust this particular setup is you've got completely separate pumps and wheel motors from the left to the right side, okay? And that's not going to allow cross-contamination when something happens on one side. And it's a real industrial type look right here. So spec for spec, when you kind of compare it to some other different brands, you can get into this for a really good price point, you know, and they do other things besides what I'm saying, like certain beefier components depending on what it is. This is a 3-gauge deck that's on this, which is industry leading. Typically you're gonna see a 7-gauge deck. And then you can see just components, you know, as you walk around the mower, how thick this front caster fork is. I like the features you get at the price point you get it. It's really attractive with a Bad Boy mower. Now, The warranty typically is gonna be hovering around a 2-year warranty across the board. You're gonna get typically longer warranties if you go to other brands, so that's something to consider. You know, if you're a commercial guy that's putting tons of hours on every year, then honestly it's actually pretty equivalent, because there's hour limits, you know, with other brands as well. This one's just unlimited hours for the first couple of years. So that's definitely you know, a lot of information we've soaked up. So we'll be doing a lot of different videos on this channel where we talk about Bad Boy Mowers, and I've done a lot of stuff on the channel in the past just talking about Toro. You know, like one of our last videos was a Toro 4000 series versus a Toro 6000 series. So comparing Toro to Toro. Sometimes we've compared Toro to other different brands. I've actually got a video where I've compared a Toro to a Bad Boy in the past, and it's probably one of the only videos that I said, hey, there's a clear winner. Like, I picked Toro in that video and said it was better, you know. So there's certain mowers that I think are better from one to the other. I think in that one I was talking about a residential 54-inch, and I would stand by that to say, like, I would think that would win that competition in the exact mowers I was comparing. But you know, if I was to compare this to a Toro 6000 series, that might be a video that we do. Man, that'd be hard pressed to kind of turn down the price disparity, right, when you kind of look between the two. So it really depends on what you're doing. There's pros and cons, you know, as you think of different mower brands, but we're excited to grab this brand here. We're excited to be able to offer tractors and things, and we've definitely seen the channel grow, and we've talked about making deliveries across the nation and different things. As we get into things like tractors, it's more and more possible that we can do things and ship, you know, across the country and do stuff that way as well. So ultimately, the goal, you know, of the channel, give you guys as much information, whether you're buying from us or somebody else, give you guys just tons of information and make you have a better informed decision, right, when you're going to buy whatever you're going to buy. So I hope that gives a little bit of insight as to the allure of Bad Boy, and expect a lot more videos to come in the future covering the Bad Boy brand.